Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Esther, and today my topic is going to be how the minority is able to change the world. To begin with, I have the question. How many of you have read this book called 100 Years of Solitude? I'm kind of weird because I've read this book since I was only 9 years old. But I haven't finished even the second paragraph, for the names of the characters are too long to remember. But when I read this book again, a few years later, I found something really fascinating. At the beginning of this story, the author described the village that was backward, ignorant, and isolated. However, every year several ragged gypsies would come and display their new inventions. These inventions that were considered as witchcraft in those villagers' eyes accidentally triggered one of them's interest. From a simple magnet to a magnifying glass, from a sextant to alchemy, he found that what he believed for his whole life were all wrong. One day, he told his wife that the earth is round like an orange. His wife cried out loudly because she thought he was possessed. However, he kept exploring the truth. His wife left him, his father beat him, and every one of his neighbors disdained him. He was caught in infinite solitude that could no longer blend in with surrounding that was so intolerant and narrow-minded. Ultimately, he was tied to a tree by his family and died distressingly. Actually, if you have read this book, you will find that though the man died in great pain, his spirit affected lots of people in Latin America. He was like wandering in a valley of knowledge alone, without light and hope and support, and finally drawing a stream between a gorge of mountain of ignorance and the wonderland of truth, with his mind lasted forever. Here comes the question. How many great people were isolated before we can understand what they're trying to tell us? Copernicus was terribly persecuted for his scientific theory that conflict with the Bible, and was tried for heresy by the Inquisition. But he still believed what he saw. The same was true for Galileo and especially Bruno, who was burned to death. Despite those scientists, there are also some politicians who dare to stand out and tell the whole world, no, what you think is right for hundreds of years is actually wrong. In 1963, August 28th, Martin Luther King bravely stood in front of Lincoln's memorial, though under great danger, tell the whole America, no, the black people had their own human dignity. He fought for the reduction of racial discrimination and thought he was doing the right thing, though he knew he would be killed by someone someday, sometime, and that became true when he was only 39. In the novel, Latin America was changed. In reality, the earth is round, the earth revolved around the sun became common knowledge, and today, black children are able to hold the hands of white children. They both have the same opportunity to get access to education and apply for jobs. Great people sacrificed so that we can get closer to the world we lived in and also closer to ourselves. As we gradually understand what they're trying to tell us, their minority thought becomes the majority. And from that majority, another group of minority might stand out and express their brand new ideas based on the priori minorities' investigation and theories. Again, they might be misunderstood, isolated, and be in great physical and mental pain. Maybe after their death, we can understand them. At that time, their minority thought becomes the majority thought again. This is how our society makes progress. These great people can succeed because they care, because they want their countries back, because they want to know everything, because truth still belongs to us, as long as they have the guts to fight for what they believe in. Because of the existence of them, from Newton to Hawking, from our bare hands to knives, daggers, and guns, from our perplexity and ignorance to our wisdom and diversity. Through this history of millions of years, we as human beings made a tremendous amount of progress, and it is those pioneers that elevate our thinking to a whole new position again and again. Maybe you think think that you're not that group of minority that I mentioned before, but what I want to declare is that I'm not commending those people upon their intelligence and talent, but instead their perseverance and courage to revolt against power and death. For us, ordinary people, all we can do is complete our job with great passion. For us, the death and the power is ourselves. If you are a cleaner, just clean every single dust you see on the street, no matter what your colleagues are doing and how other people look at you. If you are a teacher, just focus on transferring your knowledge to the students, no matter how annoying they are. For me, I'm a student. I will try my best to get higher grades and learn as much knowledge as I can, no matter what other students are doing, falling in love or playing video games. The way for us to contribute to this society is very simple. To have the determination and courage to keep believing, keep working, and insist on our originality. Especially nowadays, more and more people drift with the current and follow the mainstream. But if you can resist that urge and achieve uniqueness, you yourself can become the majority that can change others. And when that you becomes the majority, the world will be changed. Thank you.